Hello everyone, Ember here, and welcome back to a new video. In this one, I'm going to be taking a look at the Many Golurks of GLC. So what is GLC? For those of you who don't know, it's a single prize only no Roblox format. It is singleton except for basic energy, and you're only allowed one type per deck. So Golurk comes in two flavors, both fighting type and psychic. So sadly, you won't be able to play a fighting psychic deck in GLC, you'll have to pick one or the other. But fortunately, Golurk does have plenty of interesting cards for both types, which is quite nice. So, as for the basics, we have a psychic one. I think the best one really is the one with return, which just does 10 damage, and then you may draw cards until you have 5 in your hand, which is quite nice. Then we also have this Gollet from, well, it's fighting type from the Scarlet and Violet era, with the attack Iron Defense, which says flip a coin feds during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks. I think this is honestly your best option, but at the end of the day, I don't think it'll make too much of a difference as an evolving Pokemon. But typically, if you're getting 90 HP involved, you may as well play things like Level Ball as well. So if we ever get like 100 HP Gollets, then that's just also something to bear in mind. Like, try and stick to 90 HP, I guess. But overall, I would say these are probably your best options for evolving. And for the first one we have here, it's a one from the Black and White era. Now, sadly, this one's not very good at all. Like, Hurricane Punch can do 200 damage, potentially, if you're feeling very lucky and you flip 4 heads. And, like, maybe there's, like, a pseudo mill deck with, like, Hammer Arm, which is, like, I guess maybe could be a thing with fighting types because of, like, stack attack and mill and things. But at the same time, I just don't think there's enough mill here. If this was, like, mill 2 or even mill 3, then, yeah, sure, that could have been something there. But overall, I don't think this Golurk is particularly impressive, sadly. It is interesting, though, for the fact that it has weakness water and resistance lightning, which is not something you see every day now, but aside from that, yeah, nothing that interesting, really. Then we have more ones from Black and White. You do have the option to go gold rarity upgrade, which is really nice. I mean, the card itself isn't brilliant, like Devolution Punch does 60 damage, and you get to de-evolve the defending Pokemon, putting the highest stage evolution into your opponent's hand, so it's kind of like the Aerodactyl from 151 and just like TM Devolution, I guess, really. But this one does actual damage, so if you can do 60 damage against a stage 1, really, or like a stage 2, then you might be able to KO the Pokemon that's underneath it. But it really just depends if your opponent has used like a rare candy, and then even then there's a lot of like 70 HP Pokemon, so you might have to make up the difference somewhere else. But overall, I don't think Devolution Punch is the worst attack in the world. And then Ghost Hammer for a whopping 4 energy only does 90, and during your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon has no weakness. So kind of nice against Dark types, I'm guessing, but for 4 energy, you really just want to be doing a lot more damage than that. So yeah, don't think the second attack is anything to write home about, but Devolution Punch at least has some flavor to it. Next up is we have another one from Black and White, and this one sadly isn't brilliant. It says if you have any Team Plasma Pokemon in play, this attack does nothing. I mean, who cares? It's still only doing 60 damage for 2 colors, so a bit rough. Then again, it has an attack for 4 energy, so, noticing a theme here, these attacks are very expensive. Shadow Punch only does 80, so 10 less than the one we just looked at. And it isn't affected by resistance, which is still just an awful effect. So, yeah, I really don't think this one is very good, sadly. The artwork is pretty cool, but yeah, that's probably the only positive thing I can say about this Golurk, sadly. Next up is we have a one from the XY era. This is from, I think that's Furious Fists, the set. Has the attack Wreck for a Psychic double colorless, does 60. And if there's any Stadium card in play, this attack does 60 more, then discard that Stadium. Like, if you really wanted to, you could use Reverse Energy, and like before the GLC bans, you could use double colorless, but sadly DLC got banned, so that kind of sucks a bit. But yeah, you could use Reversal if you really, really wanted to, or like Xatu, I guess, but like, it's just not a lot of damage. Like 120 for 3, and then discarding a Stadium just isn't great. Like, there will be some niche situations where you don't want your opponent to use the Stadium you've just played, so like being able to discard it immediately is quite nice, but overall I just don't think this card is very good. And then for 4 energy, you do 100, which is, yeah, that's pretty bad. So a bit interesting, I guess, but not very powerful. Then we have some more ones from XY. This time we have a Fighting Type 1 and a Psychic Type 1. The Fighting Type 1 isn't that interesting, but it can discard the top card of your deck to accelerate some energy to itself, while also doing damage, which can be quite nice. And then Double Lariat says flip 2 coins and you do 90 for each head. So 180 is pretty sizable, but it's on coin flips and it's also 4 energy. So even with the built-in energy acceleration, I don't think this Golurk is anything crazy. And then we have the Golurk, which is from Ancient Origins, has the ability Double Type. As long as this Pokemon is in play, it is Psychic and Fighting, so I guess it can be played as both, which is nice. But of course, it'll only be played in a Psychic type deck, don't forget that. But it's still cool to have two different types of weakness to hit. Then it has the attack Superpower, which again, for 4 energy, very expensive, does 80 damage, and you may do 40 more, so, whoopee, we can do 120. But if you do, you do 20 to yourself, and 4 for 120 just isn't brilliant. So unless you can really, really cheat energy onto this Golurk, I don't think it's very good. And you would want to hit, like, 2 different decks of weakness, which is, it's just not brilliant, really. I just think there's better options for Psychic decks. I mean, it's kind of cool, like, you can stop your opponent's Pokemon's abilities, but yeah, I don't think overall this Golurk is that impressive, which is a shame, because it is pretty cool, and the artwork's great, but yeah, Ancient Origins Golurk is not that cool, really. Bit of a shame. Then we have a one from Shining Legends. This one has the attack Triple Smash, which does 10 damage, and then you flip 3 coins, and use 60 more for each heads. So you can actually do 190 damage with this, which is quite cool for 3 energy. So already, a sizable improvement compared to the other ones we've seen. But at the same time, you'll need to flip 3 heads. So, like, how often is that realistically going to happen? Like maybe with Glimwood Tangle as a deck, then sure, maybe. But again, 3 energy is quite expensive. But even if you just flip 2 heads, like, you're still doing 130, which is better than most of the other Golurks so far. So there's at least some positives here to talk about. Like, Golurk Hammer is terrible, but like Triple Smash, I guess, is kind of playable. So, that's nice to see. Next up is we have a one from, I believe that's Cosmic Eclipse. Yeah, I think that should be Cosmic Eclipse. Has the attack Fist of Antiquity, which does 160 for 2, which is quite a lot of damage. But if you have any support cards in your discard pile, this attack does nothing. This effect is awful. Like, I'm hoping in the future we see, like, more effects that support this. So, like, more attackers that you can use or abilities that you can use if you have no supporters in your discard pile, because otherwise this kind of effect is just pretty weak, because of course you're just not playing any supporters, which is rough. Like, maybe you could use this as an attacker in the early game and just build your supporters around, like, Boss's Orders and Hand Disruption, and then maybe try and pal pad them back into the deck or something. But overall, I don't think Fist of Antiquity is that good in GLC, which is a bit of a shame, because I think 160 for 2 energy is pretty efficient. But overall, it's not quite enough damage to KO all the really big Pokemon. And having no supporters in your deck kind of sucks. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame, but yeah, not very good right now, sadly. Next up is a one from Darkness Ablaze. This one is super bland and boring, which is a shame, but for 5 energy, if you're willing to pay that, Golurk Hammer can do 180, yay, which is still not enough to KO Wailord, and they one-shot you for like 3 water energy attached. So yeah, I don't think this is very good, sadly. The artwork is cool again, but yeah, the attacks are just not great. Next up is we have a one from, I believe that's Chilling Rain, and this one has the attack Reinforced Punch. If this Pokemon has a tool card attached to it, then it does 90 more damage, which is, that's not bad actually. Like, so what's that, 150 damage? I mean, that's not terrible. You could put Luxurious Cape on this thing to give it plus 100 HP, which is funny. You could play this with Gorgeist and have like a tool drop style deck. You could have it with Gramble as well, with Dig Up. So, like, there is plenty of options here, which is nice. I definitely think this is one of the more interesting ones. Again, it's just a shame seeing all these Pokemon with double colorless in their attack cost, and the fact that we lost double colorless to the bans kind of sucks, really. So, like, you would have to use double turbo or just use Zartu or like reverse energy. So, bit of a shame that double colorless had to leave us, really. But yeah, this Golurk could be fun in a tool drop style deck. And then next up is we have a one from Brilliant Stars. Now this one has the attack Big Hand, which does 30 damage and then 10 more for each card in your hand. I think this is probably the best fighting type one we have, to be honest. Like, yeah, it's not brilliant. Like, even if you only have 7 cards in your hand, you're only doing 100, which is not great. But like, if you want to really stack up the hand size and not get disrupted, fingers crossed, then maybe Big Hand can do decent damage for 2 energy. So, at the very least, it's something. It's also a bit payable in fighting types, because fighting type energy acceleration is pretty much non-existent right now. So having Big Hand is quite useful. So yeah, definitely like this card a bit more than some of the others. It's a bit more interesting at the very least. Then we have a one from Temporal Forces. Sadly, it's only really in here for like Iron Defense plus Luxurious Cape meme decks, because Fighting Fist is not very good. Now, if this was just against like generic stage 2s or like stage 1s even, then maybe it could have had a niche to do 240, but the fact you're paying 4 energy only to ever do 120 in this format is really bad. So yeah, not very good, sadly. Iron Defense, meme decks, sure, why not? And the artwork is amazing. But yeah, aside from that, not a very good card. But yeah, thanks for watching. I do new set review for GLC reaching a release, so subscribe if you're interested in being updated. This is a series to stay, of course, so let me know which Pokemon you'd like to see. There is a list, we're going through them, and a playlist has been made. And if you want to dive into the competitive side, Omnipoke and the format creator Tricky Jim have both done fantastic videos and guides for each type. Also, this is the latest Golurk that's going to be appearing in Black Bolt or White Flare. I can't remember off the top of my head which one it is, but this one's just not very good. It's like a flip 2 coins, do 80 damage to each heads for 3 energy, which isn't brilliant. And then the Golurk Hammer attack for 5 energy does 200, so like, it's not even enough to KO Wailord, sadly, so I don't think this Golurk is very good, sadly. But yeah, let me know what you think down below. It's been Overpower, and yeah, thank you for watching.